Dental labs are a dime a dozen. But when you find one that has an in-house continued education component because they know how important continued education is, well, that's special. You know what else is special? Being surrounded by the Utah mountains. Diamondhead Dental Lab is one of the top labs in Utah, but also a leader in the industry. How did they get that way? Well, let's talk with the guys that started it all. Beautiful out there. Gabby?
Hi, Jeff. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you as well. All right, so Mike and Darren want to meet them. Are they around?
Yes, both of them are actually back here.
Okay, perfect. So what is this?
This is our lab area. So right here we've got our ceramics.
Working a lot harder than both of us work.
Model room, that's where our cases go immediately after entry.
Okay, got it. And this must be Mike. Gabby, thank you very much. Mike, nice to meet you. Nice to meet you. So your brother, is Darren around?
He is. He's right here.
Darren.
How are you?
Nice to meet you. All right, so this is a family-run business. You guys started 30 years ago. I want to find out more about how you got started and how you worked into CE. So I have a lot to talk about.
Yeah, let's go.
Okay, got it. Let's go. Let's go back now, 30 years ago. When you guys started this, did you imagine that it would grow to this? And you guys have bigger plans than where you guys currently are now. But what was your original goal?
No, I think it's morphed quite a bit. I think our original goal was the model that we came out of that apprenticeship for, which was to stay small. We were actually advised to stay small within that model, and when we created our apprenticeship, it was the same model. There's the business aspect, and there's the clinical, or there's the ceramist technician aspect, and it was more of a stay small, keep it simple, work on your craft. Work on, becoming a master ceramist, work on the art of it. And so I think the goal at that time was not to become big. It was quite the opposite. The goal was to stay small.
Where did that come from, though? Where did that drive to go ahead and take that leap and see an opportunity?
Adapt or die.
Yeah.
We have a passion for what we do. We do not want to ever become really big. That's not our goal. We want to find that niche where we're really, truly considered a partner with our doctors, not someone who just brings a commodity or product to their office. So to be able to do that, we have to really have a certain type of business model. We really, truly try to provide everything a doctor would need. From a full ortho department, we have our own clear aligners brand, fixed, removable chairside, and education. So, but the scope goes far beyond that for us. To be a doctor's first resource, we have to have answers to questions that they call with all the time. Digital questions. I have a staffing problem. Darren, can you help me? So we're partnering with staffing agencies, with financial institutions, so care credit is not their only option for their patients. They can actually get patient acceptance with more patients because there's different financing options that they have. To be a first resource, we have to have partners like TruAbutment, for instance, because we're not, we don't do everything. I really can't go sit down with them, help them with their accounting and their books and things like that, but we have partnered with the best people who will sit down and help them on the business side, not only on the restorative and clinical. So we feel like we've covered all the aspects that an office would need, so we can truly become a partner with them. And that's what we want to look at, or be viewed as their business partner, not a lab that brings them a product.
So talk about that with the communication being a part of the overall mission statement of the company. Talk about that communication, how important it is to you.
I think communication is the key to this industry, or this business. If we can become the best communicators, we will have the best lab. If we've ever had situations with our doctors or accounts that were unhappy, it was never our product, it was never our wonderful team. It's that we didn't communicate well enough. Because if you don't communicate, guess who loses at the end of the day? It's not so much me or the doctor, it's the patient. So we always try and keep the patient in mind. We have to communicate for them. You know, when they do these big cases, it's life-changing for them. But it takes a ton of communication and a team working on things together so things don't fall through the cracks. So we have some exciting things coming up in the future I won't mention right now. We're going to be powered by a certain communication tool.
Let's now go back to TruAbutment, that relationship. Where and when did that truly begin?
So, man, it feels like TruAbutment's exploded on the scene. We heard about them. We're primarily an OEM lab, original manufacturer. Our doctors demand that, and that's what we want also. But there are so many doctors that are requesting TruAbutment now, and want us to use their abutments. There are certain things that TruAbutment does that we cannot get from others, other manufacturers. They just have a lot of great products. So, and we've done extensive beta testing with their product on our own. We're not going to use a company without first testing it ourselves and making sure it's up to standard for the products that Diamondhead offers. So I'm very comfortable, putting their products.
When did you guys decide to incorporate in-house CE?
It was a plan, and it was definitely something we thought a lot about, but you can't do that without truly being able to execute it, right? So I think when we finally felt like, okay, we have the partnerships and we have the knowledge to be able to provide something valuable to doctors. So that's happened about the time we moved into this lab and expanded our space. Now, within a few years, we're way too small again. We got to expand to the next space over, and our goal is to have a live operatory as we continue to grow the education. So not only do we want to grow our products in our lab, but education is probably that's truly what my passion is. I get the opportunity to lecture all over the country, and we truly want to even increase the level of our education as we move forward. And we have some great partners and things, again, you'll learn about later from us that's happening right now, that will kind of put the education on steroids nationally coming soon. So we're excited about a lot of things in the future.
What separates you guys from other CE courses? And also talk about the relationship you have with Spear.
So Spear is a great relationship. We run 2 Spear study clubs, but we're involved in others also as the lab is part of those clubs. But I know our club is kind of, I don't know how they've described ours in Spears, Mike. You have more communication with that director.
In a nutshell, highly effective. Just because the amount of engagement that happens within our club from our doctors is unusual. This culture of collaborating with all the colleagues is really tough in this industry. A lot of people have walls. There's a lot of competitiveness. And so we try to break that down in our clubs and in our study groups and try to really open the communication up so that true learning happens.
But I think you got to make education fun too. So they use us as kind of their flagship model. We, as a Spears group, we went to Jamaica and spent a week hanging out on the beach and having our meetings, sipping cocktails and hanging out. So, and I think the key to, you asked us what sets us apart. I think what we've learned in our educational program, especially when you're partnering with companies, it can't be a sales pitch from the company you're partnered with. They have to take they have to take those nuggets that they can actually use in their practice and implement. So our goal when we put on a course or we have a study club is we have to be focused on what is it these doctors, are we providing something quality enough that they can it will impact their practice, and simple enough they can actually take it back. That's the trouble sometimes, is there's so much information and people make it complicated and they leave thinking, that was awesome, but I don't know how in the world I'm going to actually use that. And that's not what I want the takeaway from our education to be. So we're trying to simplify it and make it really valuable for them. And that's been a learning process to admit. I'll admit to you, in the beginning we made mistakes, but I think we've learned and they're just getting better and better. So.
1, 2, 3.
All right, so I've got a blue box right here, and this is for the entire team. We want to thank, on behalf of TruAbutment, you guys being a part of our family. And with that being said, well, hopefully we're a part of yours. Darren, I'm going to give this to you. I'm going to have you open this. So which department's going to get it? That's which department is that going to stay in? Obviously the front office. Darren, Mike, thanks a lot for introducing me to your family here at the lab. Over the last 30 years, you guys have done such an impressive job, especially over the last 10 years working in CE. It's been really great.
Well, thank you. It's been a pleasure having you here. We appreciate it, and it's been fun. We look forward to in the future maybe.
Yeah, I hope so. Mike?
Great to meet you
Been
guys.
great taking you through our journey.
Yeah, well, good luck with everything over the next 10 or 30 years, and I'll be checking in on you guys.
All right.
All right,
Thank you.
thanks, guys.
See ya.
Good guys right there. Well, that is going to do it for this episode of TruAbutment's InTRUview. Join us next time as we continue our conversations with dental professionals just like that. See you then.
Yeah, so I've created these processes within Diamondhead, and it's just really cool to be a part of such a great company with a big vision and so much growth potential. And I created these processes and the software to track all the data, and every day-to-day process within the lab, we know exactly what's going on. We know how many crowns a ceramist is building. We know how long a task is sitting in a department for and how to increase that to be more efficient throughout the lab. And their overall goal is to be more efficient as a lab, which creates a better experience for the patient and the doctor. So really honing in on these analytics and these efficiencies is going to give us overall better experience for the patient. I think so for sure. I saw immediate opportunity to jump on this and create a big difference in Diamondhead. And I think it could go throughout the whole industry. And that's kind of a service we're looking to provide for our doctors, is the data side in the future. So
cases come in through the front door and they are directly given to me. At that point, it's up to me to sort of enter those cases into our software and get them back to the lab to begin fabrication. Obviously, there's a lot of communication involved with that between me and the lab. I don't have anything to do with actually making the cases, but you know, it's up to them to keep me updated as they're going through there to make sure that they get out the door essentially in time for the patient's appointment. Communication, again, is my biggest thing. Communication, and then just making sure that everybody feels like a team from the get-go, you know, having each other's backs and letting people know that, you know, you're there to help them just as much as they're there to help you. That's my biggest thing. Culture is a huge thing for me. I would just say that it's the people, really. I mean, I have sort of created relationships with every single one of them to the point that I'm just like fully invested in who they are as people and the progress that they're making, you know, at work and just in their lives in general. I absolutely love being there. Like I said, culture's huge, and I feel like our culture is awesome. And I just feel really, really lucky. Ownership is amazing. There's not a single thing about being at Diamondhead that I would really change. I love it. And I didn't ever see myself being in this industry, nothing like that. But I'm really glad that I'm here. So.